Welcome back to Reliving Retro. This is Season 4, Episode 11. We're getting pretty close now to the end of Season 4. Pretty excited about it. We have a special guest on with us today, and I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. Go ahead, man.
Hey, my name is Patrick, a.k.a. Lord Hoell on TikTok and Twitch. I stream Super Mario World Kaizo levels and Legend of Zelda Link to the Past randomizer. I think this is, third time on the show?
I believe so. Yeah. You've done Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country 2, and now Super Mario 64.
64, wow.
Pretty solid titles.
Yeah, I'm honored that I get some of the big ticket titles here.
Yeah. So, definitely go check out Patrick over on TikTok and on Twitch, where he streams daily, seemingly.
Pretty much, yes.
Pretty much daily.
Sick.
Yeah. So let's get to know you a little bit. And we've asked you these questions before, of course, but of course we have some new viewers as well. So we're going to let them get to know you as well. So we got to know, when was the first time you got into video games? What console was it? How'd you get them? That kind of thing.
First time I got into it, it was NES. It was Super Mario 3.
Cool.
And just kind of asked my mom, hey, can I play? And she figured I was like 3 or 4 years old, and figured, what harm could he do? And I ended up doing pretty well at it. So
nice.
Then really, really fell in love with video games when I played Legend of Zelda Link to the Past for when I got my SNES.
Cool. How old are you? Would you say you were for that? Because I think, for me anyway, like Zelda was probably that was too much for my feeble mind to handle.
To be fair, it still kind of is, right?
Yeah, I'm not good. I'm not great at it.
You said it, not me. Hey, don't make that face. You said it, not me.
Hey, some of the puzzles get pretty intricate.
To be fair, I don't know what it is with that game or the franchise. Sometimes I'm just like, I want to take on this adventure. I want to experience the Zelda. And then I get into it and I'm like, it's losing me. And I don't know why. And there's something wrong with my mind, but it's losing me.
I was probably 6 or 7.
Oh,
okay. Definitely either first or second grade, something like that.
Okay, gotcha. I'm trying to think. I was probably like 5, I think, when it came out. So we're not that far off from the age.
Yeah.
What are your favorite types of games to play? Obviously, you have Super Mario World and Legend of Zelda that you play on stream pretty consistently. What other types of games would you say you gravitate towards?
I always liked platforming games, but I also love sports games growing up too. The NHL 94, 95, 96 games, cool. Madden, I liked those too. A lot of just platforming games, but then I got really into first-person shooter with Counter-Strike, as you can probably see over my shoulder, and got really into World of Warcraft for about 10 years. So nice.
Yeah, I don't think you can really get into World of Warcraft for less than that. I think
that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, you're pretty much like committed to the bit at that point.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. It happens to the best of us.
Hey, I had some good times. I have a lot of good friends from it. A lot of good experience for me.
For sure. Yeah. But then it becomes a second job, and you have to quit one of the jobs that you have.
Yes.
So it's tough. But all right. So so you can find Patrick over on TikTok, on Twitch, and as for us, you can find us on TikTok, you can find us on Twitch, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram, and if you're watching us on YouTube, you can listen to us on Spotify, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can watch us on YouTube. We also have a Discord. Nothing goes on there. Don't even join it.
I'm gonna go join it after this.
It's just join it just to post something in there.
Might interfere with our podcast every once in a while, but
much appreciated. And of course, we have the Patreon. Next week's episode is a Patreon episode. You can join the Patreon for as little as $2 a month. That helps support the show, and you can suggest some games for us to play. We have a Patreon episode once every month, and we draw from the Patreon list, which is a much smaller list than the master list of games that have exceeded 300 or so at this point. So it's going to take a little bit to get to your game if you go to the master list, whereas the Patreon list is much, much shorter. So we'd, of course, appreciate it if you join there. And if not, just hit us with a like and a comment and a sub. That's all free to support. We very much appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Super Mario 64. It's a pretty iconic game, pretty legendary. It's funny because last episode we just talked about Super Mario World, so it's awesome that we get to go from Mario World to Mario 64 and essentially get to talk about its sequel here. Patrick, what experience do you have playing Super Mario 64 before this week?
I have done 16-star runs before, using the bunny to get through the 35-star door, backwards long jump. So I know a lot of the glitches. I'm not great at it, but I've been playing it since its release in '96.
Yeah, and there's a total of 120 stars, correct?
There is, yes.
Have you ever gotten all 120?
4 times, yes.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
I filled up my cartridge growing up.
Very nice. Yaiser, what's your experience before this week?
I actually played this game quite a bit back in the day. I've played it a lot, but I don't remember if I personally got 120 stars. I mean, it's like a weird memory for me. Like I played it a shitload, but like I've played the final boss, but I think that was on someone else's save file. Well, the final Bowser fight, anyways. We all know who the boss is, right?
Well, spoiler alert: it's probably Bowser.
It's probably Bowser. But I don't think that was on my save. But yeah, anyways, this is definitely probably the game I played the most on our N64. For sure.
My experience is actually very similar to yours, Yaiser. I played it a ton as a kid. I actually didn't have it on my N64 for the longest time. So I used to have to go to friends' houses to play it. When I first got my N64, the first 2 games I got with the console were Mario Kart 64 and Doom 64. Not sure why.
Interesting.
Parents, passed on Super Mario 64, but they did for whatever reason. And it took a while. I got like a bunch of the wrestling games before I ever got this. I got like NFL Blitz and just a ton of other games all before I got Super Mario 64. But when I finally did get it, I definitely sunk some hours into it. Now, I never actually beat it when I was a kid. Kind of. I did the same thing Yaiser did. I beat it on somebody else's save one time when I rented it. There was already a save where it was already beaten. I was just like, I'm just going to go straight to the boss.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Dating
dating ourselves talking about N64 to begin with.
I heard Blockbuster's coming back. Did you guys see about that?
If Blockbuster comes back, I'm going to go rent a game, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's one still in existence, I believe.
Yeah. Washington or something, I think.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, actually, a little sidebar, is I felt like I rented a game this week. My daughter goes to this library program once a week, and there's a video game section. And I went over there. There's a Switch section, and so I was just looking through the games. I'm like, oh, they have Shredder's Revenge. I never played that game before, so I borrowed it, and it's free. So it's like, I don't know how Blockbuster intends on coming back, because libraries just apparently are giving out video games for free.
What? That's sick, dude.
That's awesome.
Also, Shredder's Revenge is amazing so far. So if you haven't played it yet, go play it.
Damn, I gotta go to the library.
Yeah, you gotta get a card first, buddy. But yeah.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, I think
exclusive club.
It is. I think it's also free to get a card. I'm not sure though.
Probably.
Pretty sure it is.
All right, but yeah. So I beat it, but I beat somebody else's save when I had rented the game. So I never like played all the way through it. So when I was playing through it this week, I got to some of those like later levels, and I'm like, I'm sure I've never played this level before. Like the second snow level, I never remember playing before. Like the Little Big World, like that one, I've never played before.
That's iconic.
I know. Well, I remember like Little Big World for like Super Mario 3. That was one of my favorites. But like for Super Mario 64, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've never played this because this doesn't even ring a bell at this point.
I don't know if I remember.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so like a lot of those later levels I don't have a ton of experience with, but I've played like all like probably like the first like 6 or 7 worlds, like kind of a lot. This week I probably played about, I want to say like 8 or so hours of it, because I was playing it like with my daughter as well, like, and she's like trying to beat it with me, and we did beat the game. I got like the minimum stars required to get to the last Bowser, and we beat Bowser, and that's pretty much it. You know, I didn't do any like 120 star runs or anything like that, but we did the bare minimum to beat the game, non glitches, you know.
So
what about you?
70-star run.
Yeah, there you go, 70. Yep. I couldn't remember whether it was a 60 or 70. We beat it earlier in the week, but I couldn't remember. Yaiser, what about you?
I didn't play that much this week. I got maybe 2 hours, probably a little less than 2 hours, but I I got 8 stars and I fought Bowser once, so
there you go.
It was enough of a refresher, I think.
Yeah, because you only really need a refresher if you played it that much when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
And Patrick, I'm assuming you probably didn't have an entire playthrough as well.
I did. Oh,
you played through the whole thing. Nice.
Oh yeah, but it was I decided to do a 31 star run because I was going to do a 16 and use the bunny to glitch through the 35-star door, but I decided, let's get some more stars and suffer through this game a little bit more, and a little foreshadowing into some of my ratings here.
Oh no!
Spoiler alert, camera.
Yep.
But no, I used backwards long jump to get through the 50 and 70-star doors. So once I went through the 30-star door, I did the boarded Bowser sub, got that star to unlock. What was it? Bowser and the Fire Sea or something like that. Whatever the level's called, the second Bowser.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Very cool. All right, so obviously we all have a good amount of experience with this game, and we've played, I'd say, varying levels throughout the week, where it seems like I might have played the most, Patrick probably in the middle, and Yaiser probably played the least. But it'll be interesting to see these ratings now, because Patrick kind of said a little foreshadowing on the ratings. Not a big camera guy for this game, are you?
Is anyone really?
I mean, I guess we'll get into it.
I think we've had worse cameras. I'll just throw that out there.
Let's start off with story. All right, so essentially the story kind of breaks down like this. There's a little cutscene at the beginning of the game. Peach reads off this letter that she wrote for Mario, and it says, "Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I've baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool, Peach." And that's it, right? Like, that's all there is as far as like a precursor to the story. Then you find out that Peach has been captured in her own castle, and Bowser's in there, which is a nice little twist, I guess, compared to the normal Bowser takes Peach to his own castle. Now he's just like, I'm just going to go to your castle and I'll just live there with you now. And it's
fucking big enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, did he put those like additions on, like those like little Bowser worlds that he's in? Like, I don't understand. Were those already built into the house?
I don't know. I will say though, I didn't remember that Peach letter was actually had like a voice actor and was read out loud.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't remember it until like firing it up again.
It was not in the Japanese release of it though. It was only in the American release.
Oh wow,
nice. Yeah, I did remember that, but I do think that's the only like voice in the game other than Mario's like normal wahoos and stuff like that, right? Like there's no other like actual voice like acting.
I did that pretty good, right?
I was a little impressed, yeah.
There's the iconic at the end. Thank you so much for playing my game.
Oh, he does say that at the end.
Damn.
And then there's I mean, he says like a couple of his little phrases, right? Is that Charles Martinet?
Yes, it is.
Is this the first one he did? Do you know?
I think it might be, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like another game where Mario would even have a voice other than this one.
Yeah, this was the first one that Mario had a voice, I believe.
It's funny because when the casting came out, everybody was like, why didn't they just get him to do it? Why didn't they just get the real Mario to do it? And I'm like, I bet they just didn't assume that he would have the chops to like voice act an entire movie of all these different lines, because he's normally just saying like, it's a me and Mario and let's go. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much it. But I guess he does make it like an appearance. So
yeah, he is in it.
Yeah, that movie's coming out in like a week, so I'm pretty excited about it.
I can take it for my daughter.
Yeah, I want to go. A lot of people are not excited for it, but I am.
Yeah, those people are weird.
How can you not be excited for it? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't understand that.
I think it's going to be awesome, and I hope that they do some sort of like Nintendo like cinematic universe like Marvel has, where they have like, because they already have like Sonic movies, right? Which isn't exclusively Nintendo, but he's in Smash Bros and stuff. So they already have like the Sonic movies. It'd be great if they had Mario franchise, and Metroid movies would be so dope. I think like if they could make some good Metroid movies,
like R-rated Metroid movies.
That's the one Nintendo franchise that I think like would deserve the R rating. Honestly, it's dark enough. Like Star Fox, I think would be so cool. I think if they did all that and then like use the Super Smash Brothers Super Smash Brothers Brawl storyline with like the subspace missionary or whatever it's called, where they all have to get together to like fight like one big dark force, I guess. I just think that would be so cool as like a sort of like an Avengers type of thing.
Yeah. I agree.
That would be cool.
It would be cool. All right, we're not talking about the story for that though. We're talking about story for the game, and I'm gonna get it kicked off here. I think it's all right. I think it's not too bad. Certainly not Super Mario World level, which was a 5 out of 5, 100% all day. Little biased, I agree. I was the only one that gave it a 5 out of 5. But that's my favorite game of all time. Had to do it. All right, so I'm gonna go with a 3.5 here for story, out of 5. What about you, Yaiser?
So I'm a little higher than that. I'm at a 4, and only because, like, just about in each world, almost each little like star mission you have has its own little like mini story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It does. That's
like,
fair.
I mean, the overall story is almost the same as every other Mario, but like you said, a little different. Take over her castle, held her in there. But then, yeah, you get like these little stories with like, you know, the Bob-omb and the Koopas. You got a fucking, you know, I love this game. I think this is, I'll say it now, I guess I'll get it out of the way. This is my favorite Mario game. Other than Super Mario RPG, you know, but that's different, right?
That's not like really. I mean, it's like it's a Mario game, but it's not a Mario game, I guess.
Yeah. So this is going to be up there for me. Just I'll throw some foreshadowing out there too.
Patrick, what about you for story?
Oh wow! Now I feel bad. I gave story a 2.5.
Okay. Totally fair. Don't feel bad.
So yeah, I mean it's your default Mario story. It's your default, and that's why I get to 2.5. I love the addition with how the stars kind of, as you said, kind of tell a different story. I love that. I definitely took that into consideration. That's why I gave it a 2.5 instead of a 2. But yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
That's fair.
I will say I don't know. I was on 3.5 before. I thought about maybe bumping it up to the 4 after Yaiser said that. I'm going to keep it at 3.5. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. Okay. I'm going to keep it there.
All right.
All right. Let's move on to probably what's going to be the most divisive subject of most divisive category of this game, gameplay. All right, Yaiser, why don't you kick us off for gameplay?
I will do it, and I will kick it off. So this game is a lot of fun. It had so much nostalgia for me too. As soon as I started playing again, it's been so long since I played it too. So it really hit those weird wow, I don't even remember this type of nostalgia. I barely remember this, but it gave you all the good feelings again. I would have gave it a 5. I would have.
Oh, I thought you were going to. I had it queued up already.
I didn't, because of what was hinted at earlier. The camera does kind of suck. We've had worse. It's not nearly as bad as the medieval camera.
It's funny because Patrick said that to me on we were chatting on Discord a couple days ago, and he was like, "Spoiler alert! If there was a category just named camera, I'd give it a -23."
Oh man!
I was like, "Yeah, that's totally fair." I was like, although I do feel like medieval is worse.
You can quote me on that. I'll take that one to the bank.
Yeah, that's great. That's pretty great. But I mean, I took some off, but I couldn't take too many off because medieval is way worse. I wasn't nearly as frustrated with this camera as I was in medieval. So I'm gonna land at a 4.5 here, man. This game is hella fun.
It is fun. I did have a good time going back and playing it, and I will say the gameplay couldn't have been that bad because it kept my daughter's attention for a long time. And again, that's a lot of when we're playing these old games, if I can sit my 8-year-old daughter in front of it, who is very accustomed to playing Nintendo Switch games, if I can sit her in front of it and she is enjoying it and she plays it for a long time, then to me, that's pretty telling on how the game is aged and how the gameplay is and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to preface my score with that. I ended up giving it a 3.5, which sounds fairly low in comparison to Yaiser's, but this is where I'm going to start. If I'm starting at a 5, I'm going to knock it a whole point for that camera, at least a whole point, because that camera was pretty rough. I still don't think it was as bad as Medieval's, but it was pretty rough. I felt like with certain missions, now Yaiser, you probably didn't get to some of them, but with certain objectives in the game, you're expected to climb to a top of a pole, jump from pole to another pole, and the biggest the biggest thing, like the biggest obstacle in this is the camera. It's just, do I have the right angle? Am I lined up properly? I can't. There's this fire thing going around. It's the lava world, and there's this like fire thing spinning around, and you don't even realize if you're high enough to hit it or not because of where the camera's lined up. So many times in this game, I felt like I died, not because I was terrible at the game, but because the camera led me astray. Essentially, I thought I was going to have enough clearance, and I didn't, or whatever. So that's a huge knock for me. And then the other thing that I think brings this down from a 5, this to me knocked it down a half point, was the fact that every single time, other than when you collect 100 coins, every time you get a star in this game, you're forced to leave the world. And I kind of hate that because it's just so much more time. Like you leave the world, you have to come back, and then everything's reset, which I get because sometimes it has to reset for like to progress the world, which is a cool aspect of the game. For example, the Bay level, I can't remember the name of it.
Jolly Roger Bay.
Yes, Jolly Roger Bay. Thank you. There's a sunken ship, and at one point the ship rises to the top, and so you know the worlds are like ever changing and evolving, which I think is really, really cool. I do find it very frustrating sometimes though that I get a star and I get booted out of the world and I have to go back into, especially if I know where multiple stars are at once, then it takes a lot longer to do. So that's the biggest reason why I chopped it down to a 3.5, but I still had a lot of fun playing it. There's just some pretty big things that I felt like kept it from being a 5. And to be fair, I do think that as far as like camera goes, I think Banjo-Kazooie's was way better. Although that game did come out a couple years later. It just, everybody thinks of best 3D platformer on the N64 as Super Mario 64, but to me, it's still Banjo-Kazooie. I think.
It's Banjo-Kazooie all day long.
It's crazy. It's crazy how like inconvenient I think the camera can be in this game, but the gameplay overall is still really solid. It's definitely one of the best N64 games still.
Yes.
Patrick, what do you think about the gameplay?
All right, so this is going to surprise you. I gave gameplay a 4.5.
Ooh, okay.
Now, I will explain. It lost half a point for the camera. But the reason why it doesn't lose more, and here it is. The camera sucks. It's atrocious. That's why my age score is going to be so low. But the camera, the reason why it gets it is because it's the first one to do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It didn't come out after the fact. It wasn't a 2 years down the road. It was a launch day release game. So there was no other opportunity to see what other people have done. So that's why the hub system where it has with the world, where it has the castles, the hub, and you go into the different worlds. It was the first one on the N64 to do it like that. It was revolutionary. Now, of course, there are plenty of love when I talk like that. There are plenty of improvements that other games have made, like Banjo-Kazooie. If N64 came out 2 years later like Banjo-Kazooie did, it would be as smooth as Banjo-Kazooie. Probably, that's why gameplay gets 4.5 because of all these things. It set 3D gaming on the map. It just executed it poorly because it was the first one. Also, the game is really, really fun. It's creative. It's challenging. A good balance of fun and hard. Overall, wonderful game. Camera sucks.
Okay. Yep. I was a little surprised. I thought it was going to be a little bit lower than that. I thought you might come in lower than me at the 3.5 there, but
originally I was, but when I really sat down and thought about it, I'm like, no, this is the first one to do it. You can't go harsh on that. You just can't do it.
All right. Totally fair.
Love it.
All right. Anybody have anything else to add to gameplay? I mean, there are power-ups that I guess I'll just answer my own question. I wanted to talk about power-ups a little bit because I do feel like power-ups is one of like the mainstays in Mario, right? And with this, it felt like they were so few and far between with power-ups.
Yeah.
You really didn't use it. There's the wing cap, the metal cap, and the vanish cap, and is that it? Just those 3 caps there, and that's pretty much all you have for power-ups.
Yeah.
I guess you could consider maybe riding the Koopa shell, something, I guess, maybe.
Right. Yeah. But other than that, there's no like power-ups, which I felt like is a little disappointing. But again, it's a 3D game. There's always like a couple setbacks when a game changes like generation like that. So that didn't really factor too much into the grade, but I did want to touch on it because I think it is it is a pretty important factor of Mario games in general. You usually talk about power-ups when you talk about Mario games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That makes sense.
All right, let's get into visuals. So visuals for me, easily my favorite part of the game, which may surprise some people because it's an N64 game and it's just N64 games just always age terribly. But as far as games on the N64 go, I think that this was one of the best looking ones. And my favorite part, so Pat, you touched on this a little bit in gameplay, but the way the world is set up, where it's the castle and you go through all these rooms and there's hallways and there's like the backyard area with the boo house, and the fact that you have to kill a boo to get into the boo house can be frustrating, but I think it's really cool how it's all laid out. And I gave it a 5 out of 5 for visuals based on just how the worlds look alone. Like, I just thought it was amazing. And Pat, like you said, it's the first 3D platformer like that. Like, you got to give it its props, especially in this category, at least for me. What about you, Yaiser?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It looked, we talk about this all the time. This first generation of 3D games kind of tend to look like shit. Usually. But this game really doesn't. And it was a launch title. Like, come out of that's fucking. It's very impressive to me. And like to see all the characters that like you grew up loving and knowing, like in 3D form for the first time. Like, it's awesome. Beautiful game. I love it.
What about you, Patrick?
I gave visuals a 4. I mean, same thing. It's a launch title that looked fantastic. There were some things here and there, some glitching here and there, but I mean, so not perfect, but I mean, not bad at all. So
yeah,
there you are.
Yeah, I actually did notice quite a bit of glitching for this game too. I kind of chalked that up to gameplay and aged, although I do see how you could put that into visuals as well. There's this weird thing that Mario does when you get like kind of stuck on an edge where he just bounces up and down like a lot for a second and a half. And I'm like, dude, relax. It's not that big a deal. Like, you're on the platform. But so there's like things like that are really kind of screwy, and obviously all the glitches in it that can, where Patrick can just beat the game in 2 seconds when he grabs the bunny if he wants to.
Yeah.
Not 2 seconds, obviously it takes a little time, but
2 minutes maybe.
Quick enough for sure. All right, let's get into sound.
I'm going 5 all day here.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, I haven't played this game in probably
20 years.
20 years, I was gonna say, yeah. And still, like, every once in a while, even before like playing it this week, the race theme,
yep, the penguin race,
would still just like pop in my head sometimes.
That's in my head literally right now as soon as you said race theme.
I've been, dude, I don't know, man. Like, and it's so many of the other ones, dude. Like the underwater, they're all fucking great, dude. All of them.
Dire Docks is probably one of my favorite video game themes ever.
So good. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you can give it anything but a 5. So let's hear you guys disappoint me or not.
Well, I'll start off by disappointing you, but probably only slightly. I gave it a 4.5, and I'm right there with you. I think all the tracks are great. My one disappointment is that they reuse tracks quite a bit. When you get to the later half of the game, both Snowman level have the same music or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, they'll reuse a lot of the tracks for the levels, which, to me isn't a huge deal. That's why I only docked it 0.5 point instead of knocking it down a ton. But the tracks are so good that it shouldn't really be that big of a negative anyway. But I felt like I had to take a little bit away from it. Especially because I can understand them doing that in like platformers, because like Super Mario World has like 70 something levels, right? With a bunch of different exits and stuff. Yeah. So obviously they're not going to come up with like 70 different tracks for all these different levels. They're going to reuse them in that game. But when you only have, how many worlds are there, Patrick? Do you know offhand? Like 16 or something if you count all the Bowser?
I mean, I could Google it really quick, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like that. It's in the,
not a ton.
Yeah, it's in the teens. So I felt like you probably could have like come up with a different track for each world. So that's my only gripe about the sound. Other than that, I felt like it was really, really good. And there was no like super annoying sounds. Like, we haven't gotten to it yet, but when we get to Yoshi's Island, I absolutely love that soundtrack. But obviously, the crying baby Mario is kind of take away from sound a little bit for me. There's nothing like that in this game. Nothing annoys me like that in this game. So definitely kept it at a 4.5, and it felt like that was pretty fair. What about you, Patrick?
Well, I now have a new objective in life, is to disappoint Yaiser over here.
Hey, man, that's fine. You're not the only one.
Giving Sound out 4.5. Same reasons. Iconic soundtrack. Didn't love how they reuse some sounds, but absolute iconic soundtrack.
Yeah, it's very good. All right.
4.5s aren't that disappointing, by the way. So
okay, because I was going to say you can't be that disappointed with the 4.5s. I mean, if we hit it with like a 2.5 or a 3, I would expect you to be mad at us forever. But like 4.5,
I'd be yelling at you currently.
So wait, you're not that disappointed?
Not that disappointed.
All right,
that doesn't mean you can drop it.
I'll change my vote right now.
No, we're gonna leave it.
He doesn't want to
keep it there.
Number. All right, let's get into aged. Patrick, do you want to kick us off with aged?
Sure, I gave aged a 1.
There it is. I knew it was coming. I knew there was a low score coming somewhere.
I'm sorry. This game aged like milk.
Ooh.
Don't get me wrong. It's a fun game. I liked the game, but it aged horribly. Controlling Mario after playing newer Mario games is atrocious. The camera is atrocious. I think a lot of this, for me, is a lot of nostalgia. The game is very, very nostalgic. I love the game because I grew up with it. But factually speaking, playing the gameplay, like controlling Mario and the camera, not a fun time. Not a fun time.
I think it's fair. Those are fair criticisms. But now let's get the opposite side of the spectrum here, Yaiser. What are you feeling?
I'm not ashamed of my nostalgia glasses, and I'm gonna wear them proudly here. The camera does suck, but it's not the worst camera I've dealt with in the past year or so. So I didn't rip that many points off for this. Other than the camera, I thought he controlled fine-ish. Sometimes he bumps off some walls weirdly, I guess.
I can see it on the front of the Game of the Year cover now. Mario controls fine-ish.
Fine-ish, but I mean, come on, we're talking about fucking almost 30 years.
Yeah.
27 years now?
Don't make me do math, Yaiser.
27. I did it for you.
Thanks.
I'm at a 4 here with age because I still had a bunch of fun with it. And really the only thing bad that I experienced was the camera. And again, not the worst thing.
And the controls ish, but
controls ish.
I mean, he like bumped off the wall sometimes, but like that's fine. It was fine.
I also felt like it was not a fun time trying to control Mario with super I guess like precise platforming is made next to impossible in this game. There's a couple levels where you really need to there's enough spot on the platform for 2 Marios, and you have to somehow try to land on that without sliding like he does all over everything. That's a very annoying part of the game for me. I don't know how long I spent in that lava level where you have to like climb up to the top of the volcano, and just that platforming up there, that was very, very frustrating.
That was like half my stream.
Yeah, it takes forever because it's just very frustrating. The controls in the earlier levels is probably not nearly as bad because it's such a wide open space. But when you're in a more confined space and you have to make these narrow jumps from platform to platform, you're like, I hate it. It's the worst. The camera is pretty bad. All that being said, I think if I didn't have an 8-year-old daughter that played this game for literally hours, my age would be a little bit different. I think I would probably be closer to Pat's 1 and not as close to Yaiser's 4. But I ended up at a 3 because I felt like, again, giving old technology to a new person and they enjoy it as much as we did when we were kids, I think is pretty telling.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about totals here. Patrick, you came in the lowest at a 3.3. I came in the middle at a 3.9. And Yaiser very rarely ever comes in at the highest, but he did today at a 4.5. One of your highest rated games
sticking
ever.
to it. Yeah. I stand by it too, proudly.
Okay, totally fair, dude. If you like the game, you like the game. Nobody's going to take it away from you.
I'm wearing my nostalgia glasses playing this game. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, man. And absolutely wear your nostalgia glasses. No one's discrediting you for it.
Hey, I did it last week, giving Super Mario World a 5. Okay,
Yeah, you gave Super Mario World Story a 5.
Yeah, I got a little crap for that, which is fine. It's okay, but I'll take that. You know what I mean? I don't know what I got more crap for, giving Super Mario World Story a 5 or not ranking Link to the Past as in my top 3 games of the season that I played.
That was something
tragic. Yeah. I know. Tragic.
And Link to the Past won Game of the Year.
And I agreed with it. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, this deserves to win Game of the Year, but it's just not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? Like, everybody likes different flavors of pizza, man. You know, put all the pizza in the fridge. I'll just take a different slice than you. It's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody loves pizza.
I gotta say, though, the person who revealed the Game of the Year, just really, really handsome guy.
Oh yeah, I don't know who that was.
Yeah,
but
killed it.
Charming.
Yeah, absolutely killed it.
All right, so that's it for Super Mario 64. Yaiser, would you recommend that people go relive this game? Should people play it?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially if you get the whatever the Game Pass is on Switch. You should play it for free.
Yeah, there you go.
Why not?
And that's how you played it this week, right? On the Switch with Joy-Cons?
Yeah. Well, I played on my Switch Lite, so
okay.
Basically with Joy-Cons, so.
Yeah, I played it with a Pro Controller on my Switch. I played the Mario 3D All-Star Edition. That's the version I played primarily. And I still complained about the controls. So I couldn't imagine doing it with an N64 controller.
If only they put 2 joysticks on that N64 controller, one that could just control the camera.
Yep. I played mine on emulator, but I played with an N64 controller plugged into a USB adapter. So nice. I got the N64 controller experience.
Good for you, man.
Nice.
I sent a poll out on Twitter and just asking for people's thoughts and whether they thought Mario 64 was worth playing, whether they should skip it or if they've never played it before. Out of 70 votes, we got 83% saying it was worth playing again. 13% said you can go ahead and skip it, and then 4% said that they had never played it. And actually, I put a poll out on YouTube also, and there were also people out there that said that they had never played it. So for the people that voted never played it, go ahead and play it. You should play it. Patrick, you would recommend that people play it? Yeah.
Of course I would, and especially for masochists too.
Who the fuck said skip it though?
Yeah, you can't skip it. I mean, you can't.
What the hell?
I don't think you can skip it. I'm going to go ahead and say it's worth playing, especially considering it's Mario's first 3D game. I feel like you kind of owe it to Mario to give it a shot. You know?
Yeah.
Mario himself.
You owe it to Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Play it for that guy.
Him too. Yeah.
Inverse to Chaos over on Twitter said worth playing is clearly an understatement. And then he said, although I do think the controls for Sunshine and Galaxy, which I actually played first, are way more fluid and responsive, though 64 still controls very well, especially for Nintendo's first attempt at a 3D game.
There you go.
Which I agree, for the first attempt, it was good. I don't know if I'll say, if they're very good in general. Carl over on Twitter said one of the greatest platformers ever made, must play it. Duck Avenger said I was trying to do a Mario 64 challenge playing it only on my phone's touchscreen. It was a fun challenge and the game was amazing.
What?
So there are those masochists out there that Patrick was talking about. Duck Avenger is one of them. Godspeed to you, sir.
That's nuts.
Duck Avenger, if I wore hats off to you, buddy.
Duck Avenger actually has a hat on a penguin in his profile pic. So
that's phenomenal.
Penguin. Yeah, it's a great profile pic.
Is it a Mario 64 penguin?
It kind of. No, it's not.
Man.
Although it kind of looks like it.
Eat the penguin. You got to eat the penguin.
Everybody go follow Duck Avenger on Twitter. His handle's at DuckRogers24. Check out his profile picture, and you tell us if it's the penguin from Mario 64. Cactus Corp said, great game, But to be honest, I don't know if it's just because I know the game so well, but I often find that people are saying how poorly the game is aged, a little baffling. I'm not saying the camera's perfect, but it's totally workable in my opinion. And then Cat Daddy Gamer said that the DS version is actually the definitive version, which I don't know if Patrick, have you ever played the DS version?
I have not. I don't own a DS.
Oh, okay. I did play the DS. It was ironically, I never got the N64 version with like the launch when I got my N64, but for when the DS launched, I got Mario 64 DS with it. So I guess my parents made up for it in that aspect. But
Nice.
yeah, in that one you can unlock like Luigi and do multiplayer and stuff like that.
Oh, whoa.
Hell is real.
Yeah,
Hell
so that's
is real.
Wow.
That's the fabled what's written on the stone in the out in the court the castle courtyard.
What does it say?
L is real. It's not actually. It doesn't actually say it. It's
okay. I'm like, I missed that.
Oh, for when the early stages of the internet back in like '99, all the people saying, "Oh yeah, no, you can unlock Luigi," and they would tell you how to do it. It was all fake.
Yeah, I watched a video the other day of how you can unlock Luigi.
Yeah.
Some of those gaming myths back in the day were too good.
Oh, they were so good. I liked so many of those.
It's very awesome. All right, now's the time of the show where we randomize what we're going to play next week, and we of course are picking from the Patreon list. Like I said before, if you would like to put your game on the Patreon list, you can join the Patreon for as little as $2 a month, and you can get your game on there, and we will play it ASAP. So if you guys are ready, I'm going to go ahead and hit that randomizer.
It's only $2.
$2.
$2.
What can you get for $2 other than our Patreon subscription? These guys are flabbergasted. There's nothing else out there. Go ahead if you have $2.
There's nothing.
Nothing. All right, let's hit it. Okay. Patrick, this is the funnest part of the show for me, so I hope you're ready. Where I get to vaguely describe this game, and then you get to try to guess it.
Okay, great, because I was like, I'm not seeing any wheel, and I don't know what's going on. I couldn't remember.
No, the wheel comes up post-production. All right. So we have an arena fighting game developed by Capcom and published by Capcom, originally released for the Sega Dreamcast in the year 2000.
Some type of Street Fighter game.
Are you a Dreamcast guy?
I had a Dreamcast, but I didn't have a lot of games for it.
I wasn't a huge Dreamcast kid growing up, but I got one for Christmas, which was great because I never even asked for one. And then my sister knew this guy at Toys R Us who loved to burn CDs, or he burned games onto CDs, which the Dreamcast was notoriously known for. And this was one of the games that he actually burned for me. So I'm so excited to play Power Stone 2 all over again.
Power Stone 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I had never even heard of this.
Never heard of it, Patrick? You never heard of it either?
No, never.
Oh, it's a great game. It's so much fun. I love it. Yeah, this one was recommended by Cody, so appreciate it, Cody. This game is pretty dope, and I'm pretty excited to play it. Yaiser, you and I are going to get some co-op gameplay for this one, hopefully.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Pretty soon. We'll probably stream that on Twitch, so go ahead and follow us on Twitch. And of course, Bill Tucker from A Gamer Looks at 40 will be joining us to wrap up the season, per usual. He does it every season. And
nice.
Yeah, so, be sure to check out that because that's going to be a great time.
So we're coming up on our 1 year here, huh?
1 year, buddy. Probably in I think when season 5, episode 1 drops, that'll be 1 year.
That'll be our 1 year, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if we do anything special for it, but I guess we just put out a new episode.
I actually just hit my 1 year of streaming, and I'm releasing a giveaway tomorrow, actually.
Nice. Congrats. So you're
nice.
better than we are because we just put out the video. You guys you're giving something away. Maybe we should give something away. We'll give away content for free.
Yeah, there you go. Let's do that.
All right. Patrick, do you have a game that you would like for us to put on our recommendation list?
Let me see. All right. Yeah. We're going to go Fester's Quest for NES.
Oh.
There it is. Painful. game. To be fair, this game has gotten a lot of flack because of, like the AVGN review and stuff like that. It's an LJN game, right? I believe LJN is the company that made it. They are pretty notorious for having bad NES games. I can say that I've never played this game personally, so I'm excited to give what's, normally considered not a great game, a fair shake here. Last time I did that, it was Superman 64. I was a little disappointed.
Oh. All right, it's not as bad as Superman 64. It's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as Superman 64.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. Again, I can see that on the cover of the game. It's pretty bad, but not as bad as Superman 64.
Imagine.
I'll go get my copy that's right here over my shoulder. So
nice, dude.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much for the recommendation. That will be added to our master list.
Does it have anything to do with Uncle Fester?
Yep.
Yes.
That's the boy.
It's an Addams Family game.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know. I never heard of this.
Yeah. So I believe it's considered a platformer. So
yeah, it's a platforming shooter. Yeah. Well, it's more of a shooter adventure game.
Okay. That's fair. It's tough to say anything that's not like from the NES isn't a platformer just because it's all side scrolling and it just kind of has the same feel to a Mario game for the most part. Like 90% of NES titles, I feel like. Oh,
wait till you get to some of the 3D sections of this game.
Oh, that's got to be fun.
Oh, no. Hey, do you guys remember the Uncle Fester, I'm going to put it in quotes, game that was at arcades for a while?
Yeah, where you would hold on to the metal things and it would just shock
like electrocute you.
Yeah. I used to do it all the time, and I would hold on to like Uncle Fester's light bulb, and his mouth would light up. Patrick seems like he doesn't know what we're talking about.
What childhood did you grow up in?
Was that only a Lake George thing? Was that only in Lake George?
No.
Is that where you played it, Rigney?
No, no, they had it at like the movie theater.
Oh, they did.
They used to have it at like the movie theater in Albany, and then they also had it in like on like every arcade on the boardwalk in Jersey. Whenever I'd go down there every year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was around, Patrick. You were sheltered, I think.
I was very, very sheltered.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a game, but it was something.
It definitely wasn't a game. It was more of like a torture test.
A torture device. Pay a few quarters to torture yourself for a couple.
It was like $1.50. It was like how long can you hold on to this thing? It didn't really electrocute you, right?
No,
it was just like vibrated, right?
Yeah,
so it kind of just felt like that. Like if you held on to it for too long, your hands and eventually your all the way up to like your elbows would just go numb.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
It was a wild day.
It's a coincidence because the Fester's Quest game I just recommended is basically the same thing. It's going to hurt you too. So
awesome,
that's totally fair. Cool. Maybe we'll get gameplay of that and go to an arcade where we have one of those things and see which one we like better.
We should.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for us for this week. Patrick, why don't you go ahead and tell them where they can find you one last time?
You can find me on TikTok and Twitch and technically YouTube, Lord Hoell. That's Lord Hoell, or go to lordhoell.com. All my links there, and including my Discord server. I'd love to have you guys.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, everyone. And join us next week when we play Power Stone 2. Take care.
Peace.